morning, everyone. I'm Pastor Carmona, and this is a really unusual time, not only as just passing, but of course with everything that's happening. And so we're trying to respect everybody's space because of the coronavirus. And also, we've got folks outside, and I know that they're streaming for folks who couldn't attend, who are watching remotely, especially folks who are older. So first, we wanted to thank all of you for coming. We're beyond appreciative. I know we have some folks who've come a very, very long way. Family members, friends I haven't seen in years. We're extremely, extremely grateful. I know it might seem a little unorganized because in a way it is. We were planning on having a traditional Catholic service, and in the middle of the week we found out that the Archdiocese, the Catholic Church, told us that they wouldn't allow an event with more than 12 people, and so we knew that that wasn't going to work. So we will have a mass and ceremony in a future date. So and we'll let everyone know about that. So we're really, really, really grateful that you're all here. All our family and friends, we really appreciate it. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Anthony.
Could you please use the microphone?
Sure.
The streaming can hear it better. Thank you.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about Anthony. I couldn't write any words down. He would have been mad at me for speaking about him. It was a dad. Don't do that. Don't leave him alone. I loved Anthony. I still love Anthony. I'm not letting him go. I can't let him go. I cannot believe that I'm here in front of you. My boy. So, when I first met Anthony, Jenny, his mom, just had him. And the nurse was holding him, and he was still colorless. And I could see his heart started to beat, and the color started in the middle of his chest. And it kind of emanated out. I could see the color get into him. And then he started to cry. And it was such a miracle. It was absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I didn't know how I could go from being who I was to being somebody who loved his child just unconditionally. I know parents know that for those who were there last night at the viewing, we put together a little video, and you can see the pictures of our life. And I think Anthony had a wonderful, wonderful life. Cute kid. Anthony, his mom would say Anthony was stubborn. He was stubborn with his mom, and he was stubborn with a lot of people, but he was never stubborn with me. I just had to be really patient with him. He's very kind, very sweet, very warm, very loving, very, very loving. Loved very hard. He loved people very, very much. He had high standards, higher standards than I think anybody could meet. He's very intolerant of things. If he thought something was bad, he let us know it was bad. And if he thought something was wrong, he'd always make sure that we knew it. It was really clear about that. Anthony is very gentle. He, one of the stories that I think about was just last Thursday. Last Thursday, we were at Porto's and we were getting food because he wanted Porto's. And when we were leaving, we saw a homeless guy, and the homeless guy was on his knees and just really struggling. And I was already putting my hand in my pocket to reach for money to give to him. And I saw Anthony. He pulled money out of his pocket. He walked over to him, gave him all the money he had. He put his hand on him and he told him, "God bless you." I must have done something right, because that's what I would hope that he would have done. A lot of people don't know Anthony struggled with anxiety, really high anxiety, and he went through depression. We took him to doctors and he got medications, and we tried lots of different things that in order to help him, and finally we found some things that did work for him. And I used to tell him how proud I was, how strong he was, everything that he did, how he fought through all the issues that he fought through. So he struggled the last couple of years, but he was coming around. Things were definitely getting better for him. He told his mom, he told me that he felt good, and that he was really looking forward to life. He was really happy again. He was planning on going to a prom in a couple of weeks. He was telling me, "Oh, Dad, you have to get me a new suit." And as you can tell, you love that. I know all of you loved him, but I don't think anyone loved him more than I do. I wish he wasn't gone.
We lost our brother. Anthony was our smart, funny, my grandparents, how we saw that. I know when Phoebe watched Anthony almost every day when we were younger. So every day when my grandparents and Anthony would pick us up from school, my sisters and I couldn't wait to play with him. I also remember when my mom, Giselle, would take me and Anthony, Megan and Ashley to the beach every single week. Anthony would always beg us to go in the freezing cold ocean with him, and we would follow. But we loved hanging out with him. And once Anthony got in the water, we couldn't get him out. My mom would have to constantly come up to us, tell us to swim closer to the shore, because Anthony would always be going in so deep. And I was scared, and he was not scared of the water. He loved it. And then after the beach, it was tradition to go to Starbucks. He'd always get his sweet drink. And then, as he got older, he started drinking black coffee. Sometimes took himself a little too seriously. He put sugar in that and put some creamer in that. Another great memory with Anthony was cooking strange things together. And then we'd have Pat and my mom and my sisters try it. And Anthony hated washing dishes, but that was the one time that he would volunteer to wash it as long as I cooked something weird with him. And then I remember one night we started deep frying anything that we found in the fridge. We were cracking up because we were having everyone try how disgusting some things tasted, just how much delicious some things tasted. We were just having so much fun. Each memory we have of him reminds us of how much love he brought into our lives. From Pat and Anthony's trips to Bass Pro Shop, to Giselle and Anthony's long conversations in the car after school, to me and Anthony binge watching Rick and Morty, and then running to 6 different McDonald's trying to look for the Szechuan sauce. Do you want to read this part? Anthony and I played video games long nights together. To squeezing on a houseboat on family vacations. No matter how tall he grew, he'll always be our little brother. We will cherish all the memories we made with him and miss him forever. Anthony will always be in our memories and loved in our hearts. We love you so much, Anthony.
Kind of like Pat said, I think we're all just sort of being led by our heart. I didn't have anything prepared either. If I were to share memories with you, you'd be here all day. I'll spare you that. I'm Wendy, Jenny's sister and Anthony's aunt. And I think during this time, I think the only thing that is giving me comfort is leaning on my faith and helping me to understand, because a lot of what's going on right now is just not making sense. But leaning on my understanding and my faith, not my understanding, but my faith and what I believe in, I think is really important during this time. And because of this time, not only the tragedy of Anthony passing, but many people who wanted to be here today, because he had many, many people who loved him. There are many people outside that have not been allowed to come in, just to keep everybody safe during this time. But I thank you for coming and honoring his spirit. Virtually, we have people that are with us that couldn't come. We didn't let them come. They're not supposed to come. But they're with us in spirit, and they're with us. Their presence is here, even though they're at home. So we thank you for that, because I know that Anthony wouldn't allow me to let any of you leave without, and this is Anthony, without giving you a great big hug and letting you all know how much he loved you, because each and every one of you here and at home right now have just been instrumental in helping him feel loved, which was most important. And I know how much he loved every single one of you. His friends are with us. His family is with us. And as I was saying at the viewing, you know, I was able to see Anthony on Wednesday, right before this happened. And he called me and asked me if I was available because he was stranded and needed a ride. And so I said, wow, yeah, timing is perfect, I'm on my way. And we were able to have a very quick lunch, but in that brief time, and I will say he was very proud of that beard. He would like me to say that. He had his own style. He thought he looked good. He felt good. He had a clarity, a twinkle in his eye, and he was sharing his hopes, his plans. He spoke about what a great girlfriend he had and what a, you know, life is good. He's happy. So remember that. Take that with you, that he was in a good place. And I know that he would want everybody to know that he's okay. He's okay. We're not okay, but he's okay. As Pat said, we have a very sort of a loose format. What we're thinking is that we have some letters prepared from the family and some friends. As I said, Jenny is my sister. Anthony was my second son. And I think it goes unsaid how much I loved him, because I know he knew in his heart. We had a very special bond. And I also, in regards to the format, I want to say that Jenny, his mother, is going to come up and read a letter that she wrote to her son. And I'm going to stay up here because, as you can imagine, it's unimaginable, just to support her. My husband, Frank, and Frank is Anthony's uncle. Dominic Guzman is my son. And Al, who you will see, is Dominic's godfather, who is also here for support. They will be playing a song that Anthony really connected with. In fact, he was strumming that song, as you will see it on his guitar on the video that you are most welcome to view, a tribute that we have set up for him. And for those of you who are, as I said, not able to be here present. So with that said, I want to introduce to you Jenny, Anthony's mother. And as I said, I will remain here for support for my sister. And if need be, I'll step in and read it if it becomes too difficult. Again, thank you, all of you, for being here. I know how much you loved Anthony, and I know how much he loved you. And I know that he's in God's hands, and that he's resting in peace, and that he's okay. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I'll do anything for Anthony, so I'm gonna have to get through this. Although I've written a lot of things throughout my life, this is by far the hardest thing I've ever had to write. This letter is to you, Anthony, my beautiful boy. I'm sending it to you and the universe so that I can tell you how much I have loved you and what you have meant to me. There is so much to say that I know I can write a book about you, but for now I will write this letter. These are the words I have to describe you. Amazing, strong-willed, so smart, articulate, passionate, highly, highly sensitive, determined, stubborn, very stubborn, intense, incredibly affectionate, very funny, insightful, curious, loving, loyal, a know-it-all who actually knew a lot because he researched just about everything, a force to be reckoned with. From even before you were born, I absolutely, wholeheartedly loved you. I wanted to make sure that I made you with only the very best, so I didn't even have a cup of coffee, not even decaf, and you know how hard that is for me. Not even wine or soda, but the coffee was harder. You can only imagine how worth every part of that was, as when he was born, it was like a light came into our lives. Your personality started to become clear when you were supposed to be born on January 23rd, 2003, and you decided not to come until February 5th. That's a long time later. From that point on, I knew that you were a very determined little person that was gonna wanna do things in your own way. When you were born, I experienced the most profound love and happiness that I didn't even know was possible. When I held you in my arms, the doctors kept telling me that I was way too happy, and it was making my blood pressure too high, and they needed me to put you down and try to calm down. No way was I gonna do that. You were immediately my world and my greatest joy. Everything came into perspective. I was meant to be on this earth to be your mom. More evidence of your strong, determined personality came at 4 weeks when I tried to put you for tummy time, and there was no way you were gonna have it. Your face turned beet red, and you would flip yourself every time. This wasn't supposed to happen for a few weeks, but for most kids, but you were not like most kids. You were incredibly articulate and verbal, starting at 7 months, when you started saying several words. Once you started talking, you never ever stopped. If you all know Anthony, he never stopped talking. People think I talk a lot, and compared to you, I'm a wallflower. I remember when you were 2 years old, we were at the Hallmark store, and you were having a full conversation with me. A man at the store was listening and asked how old you were. He said he thought you were a dwarf because you were so talkative. You used your verbal skills to your advantage as you negotiated absolutely everything. From early on, I've been telling you that you should be an attorney because you can argue your case for just about anything. In fact, when I was cleaning your room the other day, I found a book you were reading called How to Win an Argument. Aunt Wendy asked me to check the name of the author because we thought you wrote it. Your forceful nature kept on shining through. When you were 4 years old, we were with my dad and Awiana at the farmer's market, and you were upset and you didn't want to leave. And so you told us you were going to run away. My dad tried to talk you out of it by reminding you that you just got this new beautiful blue bunk bed for your room that you loved. You looked at him very seriously and you said, "Hello, I'm going to take it with me." It was kind of embarrassing, but very funny. On the morning that you were supposed to start kindergarten, you came in with a very serious and upset look on your face. When I asked you what was wrong, you went straight into the bathroom, slammed the door, and locked it. And then you yelled, "I refuse to go to kindergarten." After several minutes of trying to get you out of the bathroom and coax you out, we resorted to threatening you by saying, "If you don't come out, we're going to have to knock that door down." And you yelled, "Go ahead, knock it down." And then you quietly came out the other side, looked at me and said, "Okay, I'm ready." Your passionate soul shines through everything you do. Swimming, since you were a tiny baby, you loved swimming, even in our freezing pool, because we never heat it. You even liked to swim when it was raining and freezing cold. You would jump in the freezing ocean and swim for hours. You joined the swim team for a few years, and we loved watching you race in the swim meets. You love chess so much. You have several chess collections, which Steve loved to make fun of you about. You also love collecting knives. You love all kinds of music and going to concerts. Your first concert was when you were 7, and you went with me to see U2. Not bad for a 7-year-old. From that point on, we went to many, many, many more. You have an old soul and love everything from rock, Led Zeppelin, AC/DC, Guns N' Roses, to jazz, to Johnny Cash, to Bocelli, just about everything. We love listening to your playlist. You love guitars and guitar playing that you taught yourself how to play on YouTube, even when I offered to get you lessons. You said, "Don't waste your money, Mom, I can learn on my own," and you have. Cooking was another great passion you had, and that started when you were 4 years old, when you proudly started making scrambled eggs and toast. You love making scrambled eggs, toast, and chocolate milk for your friends Leo, Scott, and Jack when they would spend the night. You proudly cooked for our families when you made beef Wellington, apple strudel for Thanksgiving, and chocolate mousse cake for Christmas. Sushi, poke, and gumbo were your specialties after you caught fish on your many fishing trips. You also started cooking for all of your friends, and I know how much they loved it. You did a lot of that cooking with the spirit of Uncle Max and Rich, who you loved their cooking and you loved how much they shared it with their friends. Fishing. Wow, fishing. Boy, did this become your greatest passion. You started at the age of 3 with Uncle Max, and we have amazing pictures of you with fish that magically appeared on your fishing pole with the help of Uncle Max. Then, as with everything else, you made this your own passion. We started going on fishing boats in the ocean from Marina del Rey when you were 8 years old. You, Johnny, Christian, and me. Then you kept going with as many friends as you could take. The funny thing is that you would get motion sickness, and so would I. We would both have to take extra Dramamine to get through the trips, but it was very well worth it. You took so many people with you. I know you were trying to share your joy with them. Fishing became so important in your life, you started researching the best places to fish. So, of course, we had to go to Cabo, and we went twice, since you said that was the best place to go. Alaska and Hawaii were the other places you took us to so that you could fish. On your bucket list, you had Dorado, I forget what other fish, sharks, and marlin. The only fish that eluded you was the marlin. Luckily, you caught the other ones, including the shark. What great adventures we went on because of you. Okay, now let's talk about Halloween. You had the most creative costumes that we and many of my friends would look forward to, always asking me, okay, what's Anthony gonna be for Halloween this year? When you were 4 years old, most kids asked to be a pirate or whatever else. You asked to be a shrub. We had to figure out how to make you look like a bush while still go out trick-or-treating safely. Some other ideas that you had were to be an onion or a potato. Then at 6 years old, you came out of your room wearing a suit jacket, a tie, and holding a briefcase. When I asked you what you were, you said, "Mom, I'm an attorney." It was perfect. Well, trick-or-treating, every time people asked, "So what are you supposed to be?" And he'd say, "I'm an attorney." Everybody would say, "Well, that's the scariest costume so far." You laughed, so proud of yourself. Other great costumes, not so appropriate, but in 6th grade you walked around as Jesus Christ. And you could see him, he was awesome. Steve and I had to match him by becoming a priest and a nun. In 7th grade, you were Trump. Then, during the elections in 2016, we were all convinced Hillary was going to win, so you decided to go as Bill Clinton and wore a badge that said, "The next First Lady." Finally, after Trump was elected, you decided to be Trump in a straitjacket for 2017. Very fun. Anthony, you were so smart about so many things. A lot of your knowledge came from all the research that you love to do. I had to be so careful about the information I would give you because I knew you would have read about it and would happily correct me if I was wrong about anything. And there were so many times that I actually was wrong, and I'd have to say, "Okay, Anthony, you're right again." When you started to struggle with anxiety and panic in 2017, it was a really painful time for you. We saw how much you suffered. It felt like a storm that you were dealing with and that we needed to help you through. You tried everything and you worked so hard to find your way to the other side and to learn how to manage it. Thank God you figured out how to do it. You researched things out for yourself. You tried the things that would work for you, and you made sure that you convinced us to respect and accept the things that you felt did not work for you. I remember you thanking us for listening to what you needed and for respecting the decisions that you made. Aunt Wendy said that you were finally in the sunshine when she saw you. You taught me so much about a lot of things. You taught me what pure joy felt like. You especially taught me unconditional love. It's easy to love when you do everything the way we expect. And you did. You did everything the way pretty much the way we wanted, up until it was hard for you to continue school. When you decided to take a different path in terms of school, I had to learn to accept and respect your decision and your journey, since it was the best thing for you. The amazing thing is you realized how hard that was for me, because you said, "Hey Mom, I know how much you think education is important, and I know that the way I'm doing high school is different." He said, "I think you would be happier if I were gay," because I'd have no issues with that, and he knew that. He goes, "But education, you've got issues with." I said, "Oh no." But he did it right, and he felt like he was doing what he needed to do to heal and to be at the place that he was in the last 6 months. In the last 6 months, he was so much happier. A loyal friend. Your friends have always been a huge part of your life, starting with Charlotte and Cassidy, Leo, Scott, Jack, Ryan, Christian, Johnny, when you were very young, Brennan, Andy, Sam, Olivia, Malik, Esteban, Chris, Nick, Xavier, Katie, Aubrey, Hassan, and so many others. You kept telling me how these friends are your family. You made plans to save your money to buy a house so that they could live with you. You would cook for them and take care of them. I am truly thankful to your friends, or your family as you consider them. And I want them to know that they are now our family now and will always be welcome at our house. If they need anything, they can count on us as you would have wanted. Your passionate soul allowed you to also fall in love twice. Leave it to you to find true love 2 times by the time you're 17 years old. Thank you to Ali for filling his life with so much love and joy in the last several months. I have a feeling that had he stayed with us, he would have married at a very early age because of his intensity. I'm so thankful for the last 6 months that you have found happiness. You were able to overcome the storm, and as you said, "Mom, I finally learned how to manage my anxiety, and I know I can write things out." You let us know that you have a great life, that you're happy, and that you have an amazing girlfriend who's so cool, and some friends that are your family. You found hope, and we're making so many plans for your life. I know that you left us with a happy soul. I have to say that you have my entire soul and my whole heart with you now. Although the pain that I and we are all going through from losing you is completely devastating and indescribable, I'm eternally grateful that I had you for 17 years. I would not trade a single second of it. Thank you for the amazing life that you gave me as your mom. I will always, always love you.
We have, excuse me, we have some more beautiful letters that we have asked people to come up and read. We're now going to ask Rich Louisi, who's a dear family friend, who also really connected with Anthony, and just recently spent some really great time with him, and Anthony came back really happy. So Rich is going to read a letter, I believe, from a friend of his, one of Anthony's friends who wrote it. Several friends.
Rich Louisi, I'm a good family friend, and my family was blessed to spend Christmas with Anthony. And I just have no words right now. I just was an amazing kid. I also got the pleasure of cooking with him in the kitchen, and as all you know, how he loves to cook. Better yet, he loves to eat. And I got to make him ribeyes every time he came down to San Diego. He did spend some time. We just moved into a new house. He came down this last time, spent a few days with us, hanging out with my girls, putting desks together for their rooms, helping in the kitchen. And I don't think there's anything that Anthony wouldn't do for them, for us, and for anybody else. And that's just who he was. So I want to read from several of his friends, some of the letters that they have given here. Dear Anthony, as much as you loved your friends and considered them to be your family, they loved you as well. Here's what some of them had to say. This is from Leo. When I first heard, I didn't know what to think, and I thought I was still in shock. I didn't even know how to put it into words. You were my first friend in preschool, and I will never forget how we used to hide in the tunnel and get yelled out by the teachers. I learned so much from you growing up, and I still remember those things you taught me to this day. We always had each other's back growing up. When we used to get into fights in kindergarten, when we used to have sleepovers, each other's houses all the time, when we used to wake up at your house and make scrambled eggs with buttered bread, you never had a frown on your face and never failed to put a smile on your face. We never even got to take that boat trip together or live in big houses right next to each other. I just saw you last week, man. I wish I would have talked to you a little more that day to catch up. We made so many memories together, and sadly, it comes to an end. I just can't believe God decided to call you in at such a young age. My life won't be the same without you. 2020 isn't the year so far. Rest in peace, Anthony Carmona, 3/12/2020. Fly high, brother. I'll see you in the next life. My thoughts and prayers are going out to you and your family. I love you, brother. From Esteban. My favorite memory of Anthony would be when he went hiking at Stony Point. We would start from the side of the freeway was on and hike up the mountain to the most difficult way possible. He would always complain about how I would just easily go up the mountain and jump and grab the rocks. I always tried to push him to his limit to show him he was capable of doing these things. I love seeing him smile and call me an idiot from the little crevices capable of doing things. I love, in the rocks, crevices in the rocks. He would always get stuck between two rocks and they could not fit as easily as I could. When we would climb down from the rocks, we would almost always go and get in and out and relax at another mountain point, or go racing through the canyons playing loud music. He would sit on the rocks for hours listening to music and looking at the view. He always had a big old smile on his face, even though it was 100 degrees out and we were directly under the sun with no water. He would always come over to my house and we would watch random fail complications and would talk about the most random things all night long until we would eventually pass out. I love you and miss you, Anthony, and you'll forever be my little brother I never had. From Nick. My favorite memories with Anthony are when Chris, him and I would go to CSUN and just chill by the ducks and talk about the most ridiculous topics. We would just sit there debating and laughing. There's a lot of things to love about Anthony, but one thing is that he stands out the most. What stands out the most was his loyalty. No matter what, you're my brother. Stay tough. From Hassan. What I love most about Anthony was that he'd see right through you. He was a people person before anything, and he could read your flaws and strengths instantly. But he never took advantage. He was too kind-hearted for any of that. He was the only person who ever saw me for who I really was, and vice versa. We both knew each other in a brotherly way, and growing up with four sisters. That connection was strong and something I never had. All the time we would talk about plans for when we were rich and famous, and how I was going to get him in his studio and get the music he was writing finally recorded. All the fishing trips are time he would spend with my family, spending hours just making fun of each other. But you knew it was love at the end of the day. The man also cooked the best ribeye I ever had. I'll miss it all and miss him. But I know he'd want me to do the same things that we had planned. Prosper and thrive, not just fight and survive. He'd want the same for all of us, friends, family, or anyone in general. I know his beautiful soul is resting and comfortable now, at least. I love you, Anthony, and thank you for all the memories. From Aubrey. Dear Anthony, I remember the first time I met you. You were in the math class freshman year. We didn't know each other then, but I remember getting assigned to sit next to you. You would always tell me about your fishing trips and your crazy life, having no clue that I would soon be able to partake in these adventures with you. Later on, I began to see you spreading time with the people I did, and eventually we got extremely close. We always reminisced on our days in math class and were shocked on how we become in such a short amount of time, how we become close in such a short amount of time. Soon enough, we were texting every morning asking what I wanted to do that day. I'm not one to be comfortable enough to meet new people and get close with them so quickly, but you were just different. I'm so glad that I took the chance and in the process was able to meet such a kind soul. It seems like just yesterday that our friend group was all together. I'm so grateful to have been able to know and make so many memories with such an incredible person. I think back on the days we spent together in the malls, parks, houses, and schools, anywhere we could find to spend time together, we did. We didn't care where we were just happy to see each other again. I know always to be glad when you showed up because I immediately felt comfortable. No matter how much anxiety or worry I had that day, conversations with you were always easy. I felt like I was talking to someone that I'd known my entire life. The effect you had on people around was something extraordinary. You were generally so kind-hearted, caring, loving, hilarious, and easygoing. You always had the most ridiculous, funny things to say and the most shocking and unbelievable stories to tell. Everyone knew that your life wasn't going to be forgettable. Even though we all knew you had your own things to worry about, you always took the time to help the people around you. I remember every time I saw you, you would be able to tell how I was feeling right away and immediately showed care. If you noticed that I was sad, you'd always say the best advice to help me feel better. You had so much wisdom for being a young man and always admired you for that. I never had a friend that cared about me more than you did. I loved how no matter where our friend group was, always found a way to show up. You were always on time and you always came with enthusiasm and love. Your presence and character was truly one of a kind. You will be missed by many, Anthony. We all love you so much. With love, Aubrey. From Xavier. Hey Anthony, do you remember all those times just being at the mall, at the park for hours on end? Or those endless hours at my house playing Minecraft with Vladimir, your Russian Siberian Husky? You're the smartest kid I know. You never let an opportunity pass to show that either. If I ever needed anything or had something I needed advice on, you are usually the first person I ask. And yet, stimulously, we have some of the stupidest conversations, like when you called me at 9 at night to ask if I thought my girlfriend looked like George Foreman. Or that other time when you thought someone had AIDS and started keeping me mental-less. We've had a lot of funny experiences happen, like when Esteban and James were chased by Jake in and out of the pool like 3 or 4 times. I can't ever forget to mention your funniest attributes, your random accents of Russian and Asian people, or your random voices in general. I can't even describe them. You're just always making weird random noises, and it's so funny. But above all else, my favorite memory of us is after you and Allie started dating. You told me you were generally happy. I don't think anything else made me happier than that, bro. I love you, Anthony. You're my brother. Xavier Barros. Dear Anthony, it is so sad that we have to say goodbye to you so early. I always remember the times we hung out and all the times you stood up for me and Leo. You were one of the strongest, smartest, independent boys I have ever met. I generally found myself looking up to you, although you were much younger than I was. I wish we had a chance to see and hang out with you one last time, but I promise we'll forever hold on and cherish the memories that we have with you. From countless sleepovers to sticking your heads outside the car roof while holding mugs of hot chocolate on Candy Cane Lane, or even spontaneously getting ear piercings together after pho. We had a lot of fun times growing up, and it will keep in our hearts as long as we go on. Thank you for all the good times and for being such a great role model for those around. We'll see you on the other side, buddy. Love, Carol Chang. And a lot of friends, huh? Dear Carmona, I'm so thankful for the friendship we shared. I was blessed with many long conversations, tons of laughs, and so many gnarly memories with you. One of my favorite memories I have of us is when we accidentally went to Chatsworth Park South instead of the North Park to go rock climbing. There aren't many good rocky areas of climbing in South Park, but we made the best of what we had, which was something you were good at doing. For hours we were hiking the park's wilderness area, getting stung by nettles and pushing through the brush. At some point, we weren't even following a trail anymore. We were making our own. We eventually found a nice rocky area to chill and had a pretty good view of the valley. Together, we were listening to good music, talking, just enjoying each other's company. I'm so lucky to have been able to get to know you. You and many layers that you consist of. The fisherman, the boxer, the cannabis connoisseur, the swimmer, the writer, the climber, the adventurer, the tough guy, the Boy Scout, the musician, the cook, and so many more. For as long as I've known, you have been peeling the onion that is you, and I'm honored to have been able to do so. Thank you for taking the brick wall around your emotions and showing me who you are. It's been a pleasure seeing you go from a very rough point in your life to reaching a place of happiness. Hearing that you were very happy and doing well always warmed my heart, because it is one point that I had never heard those words come from you. I hate it so much that you were gone, but what helps give me some peace of mind is that you died being loved by brothers, sisters, friends, family, neighbors, Allie, and many more. Anthony Carmona, being your friend was so easy. Talking and joking with us was so effortless, even from the first time I met you. We got each other's dumb jokes, and we were always down for some adventure, whatever it may have been. I could always be myself around you, which was really dope. You saw me, and you generally cared about me. I will always cherish the friendship and the memories we had together. I will forever miss you, one-of-a-kind personality, and your enormous heart. There could never be another like you. I love you, man. Sincerely, George Foreman and Katie Walsh. I can't believe that you're gone. You've always been a part of my life as long as I can remember. Though I never thought that I wouldn't see you again. I will always remember the sleepovers and the adventures that you and Leo had, the Nerf Wars and the Super Smash Bros tournament at my house. Rest in peace, Anthony Carmona. We will miss you. Scott Robinson. All right, last one here. Dearest Anthony, I literally knew you all your life since our moms met at baby class at Kaiser Hospital. You were the cutest baby and I loved playing at your house with you. I remember you sitting in your big cozy red chair with your name on it. You always had the best play dates: Disneyland, the aquarium, zoos, travel town, swimming, you name it. Later on, we kept running into each other at Kaiser Hospital, of all places, sometimes broken bones, broken hearts, and therapy. We grew closer as friends as we talked on Snapchat, and you often encouraged me when I felt sad. I hope I did the same for you. I wish you had reached out to me more. I wish you had been there for you more. The last time I saw you in person was when we hung out in the Commons in Calabasas last fall. You were truly a good friend, good to talk to. I wish we had hung out more. We never got to do the deep sea fishing like we had talked about. I know that was something that you love to do. I can't absorb that you are not here and that I can't talk to you. I don't want to accept this. I'll always hold our childhood days close at heart. I can't thank you enough for being such a great listener and a caring friend to me when I really needed it. I will miss your smile, your laugh, your brilliance, and your kind heart. I pray your soul is free and that you are complete peace. I love you, Cassidy.
Thank you, Rich. As you see, Anthony had a lot of friends. In fact, we ran out of time to be able to read some more that were here. So thank you. I know how Jenny said how important family, his friends are family. I'm going to ask Steve, his stepfather, to come up, and then Frank will end with a tribute song to Anthony, one of his favorite songs, Wish You Were Here.
It's been one hell of a week. There's a lot of things I get about this kid. I understand it. The chess sets, he had so many of them. I only saw him play chess maybe a handful of times. And he was a joy in our lives. He had a hell of an appetite. What a palate this kid had, you know. I'd cook him food, and he'd say, "Hey, you mind not putting certain seasoning on it?" And I'd say, "What are you talking about? I didn't put any on it." He goes, "Oh, yes, you did." And sure enough, he was right. He could pick out that one seasoning, and I said, I don't know how you do it. I can't distinguish the taste as well as you can." And you go, "That's because your taste buds are dead." And he would be able to recall something like that happened to him when he was 8 or 9 years old, and I go, "God, how do you remember that? Like it happened 5 minutes ago. How do you remember that?" I go, "I can't." And he goes, "Your memory's like a dead elephant." Such a smart ass. And he'd make these crazy imitations and impersonations, and he would have my mother laughing. And my father, he didn't get it. He just goes, "That's clever, kid. It's clever." But I could go on and on about this little boy, and lucky for you, I wrote a short, well, short for me, but we'll see. And I'm going to read it to you. Before I do, I just want to thank everybody that's just come to not just our family, but I mean our family. There's two families here, you know, and a lot of support. They couldn't be here. Many of you are outside, others in other locations, and you know, everything that you did coming to the rescue, my wife and I were floored by it and deeply appreciate it. So let me just do this real quick and read what I gotta read. What can I say about a boy who's brought so much to my life and has forever changed my life? I knew him as a child, teenager, and briefly as a young man. He hoped to be one day. It wasn't easy for me to enter into new life with him and his mom, and equally challenging for them also. As a kid, I remember the laughter that would fill our home and the noise a young child comes with when getting excited over going to the movies, taking hikes to the creek, playing with some new toy, or asking me if he could help me use my circular or reciprocating saw. I would say one day you'll be old enough to do so, but not now. And he would begrudgingly accept my concern. I always remember having fun shooting targets in the desert with his bows and arrows, and let's not forget his beloved BB gun, and how we would compete so fiercely at who was the better shot. Looking at fireworks on the 4th of July, backyard barbecues, and how no one knew how to cook outdoors or smoke meat better than Rich or his Uncle Max. I would say, what about me? You seem to eat everything I place in front of you. And he would reply, you also, Pap. Numerous conversations of his interest in boxing and debating who was the greatest heavyweight of all time. As he got older, he found the love of music, and he would be drawn to the music of Queen, AC/DC, Led Zeppelin, Guns N' Roses, and many, many others. He gravitated toward rock music from the late 70s and early 80s era. The look on his face when he would tell me how incredible Brian Johnson was the lead singer of his favorite group, and how he reacted when I told him about Bon Scott being the group's original singer. He was like, no way, and I said, way. This led him to research more information and fact-finding of other bands he really loved, which led him to often come to me with his latest fun fact about what he discovered next. He would proudly wear his favorite bands on his chest and hang their pictures at times on his wall. This, I feel, motivated him to explore playing music and learning a soothing therapy skill in the process. But I just want to set the record straight, Anthony. I was the one that introduced you to Rage Against the Machine, not the other way around. You love the outdoors, and we had a lot of fun on our camping trips to the beach and yearly Yosemite trips with my father. We always talked about driving across the country, visiting Yellowstone, Mount Rushmore, and the one day you would take that dream trip of going to Africa with Max. You also loved USC football, whether it be with your father or your mother and I. Go Trojans. The moments I'll always cherish are the times where we were engaging in his all-time passion in life, and that was fishing. He would always say, thank you, Pap, or thank you, Mom, for taking me fishing, but in reality, he was taking us. We were lucky enough to go on some fantastic trips together as a family, which included fishing, and had some incredible times and incredible memories. We fished Alaska with its beauty and breathtaking scenery and caught halibut and experienced a whale breaching in close range, capped off by a campfire dinner, savoring our catch. We also fished the open waters of Hawaii, and were introduced to two amazing fishermen on that trip who were thrilled to have met him. He sharing all he knows with them about fishing, and them sharing their experience and knowledge to him. One man pulled me aside and said, that's a great kid. He's a hell of a fisherman already, and I proudly said he sure is. One of his dreams was to enter into an annual fishing tournament in Cabo, and he would talk about catching a marlin one day. Luckily, we did make it to Cabo a couple times and attempted everything we could to catch that elusive fish. Never caught the marlin, but never left empty-handed either. hauling away a couple Dorados for our time and effort. And then let's not forget the many times we'd go fishing for salmon up north, trying our luck in San Diego, overnight trips to the Channel Islands, and always the nearby Marina del Rey. But what is truly remembered is the moments being on the deck of a boat or a pier or a beach, and both of us fully engaged in the moment and feeling that nothing in the world matters right now. He was in bliss. I'll never be able to reel in one more with him, debate on who the best guitarist is, or fight with him about cleaning his room. I've tried having conversations with him, teaching him about what's really important in life and to put others first. Most of the time, all I could do was just be the best example I could have been and hope and pray some of it would stick. I loved your good nature, your incredible generosity and charming sense of humor. I loved how you really cared for your mother and the bond you had with her. I will always forever remember you and cherish what we had and what you have brought to our lives. Rest in peace, little man, and keep fishing. You know, he had a lot of people backing him up and that were in his corner. He knew that, and just the same, he loved a lot too. I know that he adored his father, he loved his stepmother, he loved his sisters, Pepine and Gisela, you know, Max and Denise, John and Josie, my brother and his wife. He loved Vincent and Rich, and my parents, and Wendy and Frank, and his other cousins, and Luigi and his family. But he really did love his mama, you know, he really did. And he's going to be truly, truly missed. So, but thank you for being here.
He will truly be missed. We're going to set up very quickly for Frank, Dominic, and Al to sing and play "Wish You Were Here" for Anthony.
I'm going to play a song that Wendy showed me, that tape of a video of Anthony playing this song. So let me do that first. This is Anthony playing. So you think you can tell heaven from hell, blue skies from pain? Can you tell the green field from a cold steel rail, a smile from the veil? Do you think you can tell? Did they get you the train? Your heroes for ghosts, hot ashes for trees, hot air for a cool breeze, cold comfort for change, and dangerous change. Walk on the part of the road, for we roll in cave.
Thank you so much. The cemetery is telling us that our time here is over, so we do need to make our way over to the graveside. And